This took way longer than I expected. But we're finally finishing up with the Detroit Publishing Company. Now, if you want to know about the history of the company, including William Henry Jackson, you can check out the link below to the first video. There will also be links to part 2 and 3 where we look at some of their photos. In this video, we're finishing up their portfolio and finally closing the lid on this casket. So, let's get started. Palmettos on Tybee Island near Savannah, Georgia, 1901. This is actually really cool. I love weird landscape shots like this. It's almost haunting, I don't know. Whoa, all right. So this beauty, ornate with out of control coining, insane corbels, and a ridiculous gallery of acroterians, is the Partridge and Blackwell Building in Detroit, Michigan, circa 1910. You'll never guess what happened to it. It was demolished in 1977. Oh shit, look at that. It's the opposite side of this image, which we covered in the last video. This is cool. You can see the photographer in its natural habitat. Probably a 3-piece wool suit, enormous plate camera, and about 5 plate holders which are now in the goddamn sand, and he was probably one of those unnamed photographers who worked for Detroit Publishing. Ooh, this is eerie. The way the light makes these halos lends a spooky, foggy vibe to everything. Taken in 1910. Look at this building. Located smack dab in the middle of a quarry. Actually, this is the Pittsburgh Exposition Building in 1905. And like with everything, it seems, it too was demolished, but in phases. It was also known as the Winter Garden, and sometime by 1915, a roller coaster was built in that empty lot. See? The first thing that was demolished was the Music Hall in 1941, then the Machinery Hall in 1942, and finally, the Main Hall in 1951. Alright, this looks like Ansel Adams. The grayscale is incredible. The scene is just, oh! This is Mount Popocatépetl? What? Popocatépetl? Yeah, whatever. Taken by William Henry Jackson in 1890. Wait, this is from 1890? Jesus, you'd never know it. Another photo from William Henry Jackson from the same 1890 series. This is a woman from Aguascalientes preparing tortillas. And that is a 1,000-mile glare if I ever saw one. Oh God, another one. Another beauty. Just drink this in. Consider we used to make buildings like this. The spandrels, the piers, the pilasters, the loggia galleries. Like, come on, man. The New York Produce Exchange was destroyed in 1959. And inside it was probably so beautiful. Yup, there you go. Wonderful. Hey! Detroit Publishing photographed the Carnegie Library. You assholes are alright. This is the Littleton Carnegie in New Hampshire, photographed in 1905, right before or shortly after it opened. I won't hurtle off onto a tangent, but it was built for $15,000 in 1902, and is shockingly still with us. Aw, this is a good picture. This is probably one of my favorites. This is titled Roquette Lake, and then in your parentheses, dog in picture, 1905. Another good boy immortalized forever in our National Library. Ready for a Ride, Mexico, 1900. I like pictures like this. These little encapsulations of normal, everyday life at the turn of the century. Oh my God. I would have thought this was the demolished Cincinnati Public Library. No, this is the Riggs Library at Georgetown University, 1905. But look at this. It's tiered, wrought iron structural bookshelves built not to adequately house books, but more out of spectacle. These were the libraries that, by the time Carnegie stepped into the ring with his grants, were seen as outdated and destructive to the well-being of books. But the library still exists. So if you want to know how the old Cincinnati library felt, take a trip to DC. Oh, look at this place. The New Orleans Richardson Memorial Hospital. This place bounced between owners until it was demolished in 1934 and was replaced by a fucking Goodyear tire. Here we have a rubber tree in Lake Worth, Florida, taken by William Henry Jackson in 1890. Look at this guy. Not a care in the world. Wait, is that? No. Oh my god. Oh my god, it is. It's the Olympic. Yeah, not the Titanic, but her extraordinarily successful sister. As JD would point out to me on several occasions, you can tell by the windows. Olympic had these big open balcony windows, whereas Titanic had these little tiny ones. And the windows beneath those are also different. Thanks, Thomas. I don't know what the ship is in the back, but I'll just assume for no reason that it's the Carpathia. Either way, it's amazing Detroit Publishing was there to photograph the Olympic of all ships. And this, oh Jesus, no pun intended. Okay, this is titled Sand Molding from Atlantic City in 1910. Oh, it was a part of a contest. Note expressions, they keynote of all art. Kindly remember the worker? Schooner head from the Anemone Cave on Desert Island in Maine, circa 1900. I hope I pronounced that right. It looks like something from The Ring. I just like the scenery. It's very ominous and faded, very menacing in the distance. This is a tour bus of sorts in Chicago from 1907. See, nothing changed. It's the same shit, different color. They were selling bus tickets even back then, only now they decided to attach a fucking bar on the bus for some shit-awful reason. Look at that shit-eating grin on the driver. Look at that glow! Ooh, here's another photo that looks eerily modern. Spanish fortifications in El Caney, Cuba in 1901. Honestly, I would have thought it was the Highlands. Here are some more palm trees, this time in Sebastian Creek, Florida, circa 1890. Imagine wearing a wool three-piece suit in the Florida bog heat. Christ. Oh God, look at this one. Sunset from Battery Park, 1901. Okay, so this is interesting because it's obviously photochrome, but there's a lot of detail that's been drawn in. The original photo was probably pretty blurry or very underexposed. But this one, oh my God, this is how you do it. The contrast, the thin slivers of light. Oh, it's like a Gustave Doré illustration. The sort of dark, brooding, Precambrian aesthetic you'd find in the Book of Great Sea Dragons. This was taken in the Royal Gorge in 1901. Oh, it's so good. Here's another striking silhouette. This is Lake Worth, Florida in 1910. Again, it's beautiful. Wait, I gotta put some appropriate music here. Hell yeah, the 80s are back. 80 years earlier. I have no idea where this is, but it's a beautiful capture from 1910. All taken on big field cameras using glass plates. Ooh, another gorgeous photochrome print. This is from 1900. I have these pictures here because these sorts of action shots are usually seen in modern photography. At least I always thought so. So to actually see them all the way back in 1901, when this photo was taken, is pretty incredible. These next two photos are of the Tuckacaw Falls in the Yoho Park somewhere in Canada. This one here is from 1902. Not sure why these two were chosen, but nothing really changed in 3 years? Beautiful photos though, like God damn. Holy hell, the color. Another scene from Havana 1900. God, is it beautiful. Look at the hazing in the blue sky. Oh, just a child for some reason. Nice one, Havana. Another architectural beauty. The train station in New Orleans, 1905. This was the entrance to the Southern Railroad, and of course, it was demolished in 1956. Whoa! Look at these assholes. Definitely Atlantic City. Look at all these. Oh look, another photographer. This was a thing. Haul around your big-ass view camera, offer to take photos of people, develop on site, and sell the prints. Hand people your calling card. Hell, I'd do it. Looking at this, you might think it's the Bridge of Sighs from Venice. And you'd be correct. Kinda. It's the Bridge of Sighs in New York City, circa 1905. It was part of the Tombs, a giant prison complex. The original prison was this. Stunning Egyptian revival structure until a new chateau-esque prison, which you can see on the left, was built in 1902. So this was a nearly brand new building when this photo was taken. The building on the right was the old Manhattan Criminal Court. It doesn't matter though, the whole goddamn building was demolished in 1941 to make way for this building. And speaking of demolished, here is the famous and once gorgeous Cliff House in San Francisco around 1899. Okay, Jesus, I just noticed the fucking color. I was so defeated by all the senseless architectural destruction, I didn't even notice the water. Look at the reflections, the gradients in the sand, the haze in the distance, the rocks. Again, this had to be sculpted and block printed. Christ, it's so beautiful. This iteration of Cliff House was actually the second iteration, built in 1896 and destroyed in a fire in 1907. It wasn't even a residential house, it was just space for shops and restaurants. Ooh, look at this. Looks very Southern Gothic. It's the Hotel Catterskill in the Catskill Mountains, taken in 1903. It was billed as the largest mountain hotel in the world, and for good reason. Just look at the size of this place. It accommodated up to 612 guests and saw the presidential likes of Grant and Chester A. Arthur. Unfortunately, the whole thing burned down in 1924. The plot is now empty. Oh, the scenery! God! Taken in 1901. This is Long Lake in the Rockies. There's something to be said about the raw image, like no touch-ups or accentuations. Look at that guy all the way at the bottom. Indeed, we pale in comparison to the might of nature. Oh my God. What is this place? First off, the glow is amazing. Secondly, shining much? Thirdly, this is the lobby of the Hotel Secor, or Secor, or whatever, in Toledo, taken in 1905. God damn, we don't make shit like this anymore. Now, the hotel still exists. That is to say, the building exists. It's known today as the Secor Building, but the lavish interior is completely stripped out. Fucking shame. Hey, it's give me a second. The Lusitania, 1905. She was a Cunard ship, and back when this photo was taken, Cunard was in a blood feud with White Star and Hamburg America. But Titanic and Britannic sank and took White Star with it, and the Hamburg America superliners were handed over to the Allies as war reparations in 1918. And while Lusitania was torpedoed, a catalyst for the First World War, Cunard emerged victorious, buying out White Star and acquiring assets from Hamburg America. And then they were eventually bought out by Carnival in 1998. Isn't corporate history fun? Oh shit, the dome! This is the old conservatory in Jackson Park, right here in Chicago, circa 1900. I didn't even know this existed. Holy shit, this looks amazing. I was able to find out that this photo was taken by Hans Bem, who also took most of the photos of Chicago for Detroit Publishing. Anyway, I can't seem to find any history about the conservatory, but it doesn't exist anymore. Aw, this is cool. The Photographer's Assistant, 1905. We can actually see a peek at who was behind the camera. We might never know your name, but your likeness will forever be in our history. Look at that camera, though. I wonder what it was. Oh look, the tombs again. Yeah, so this is the chateau-esque prison side. You can see the courts in the back there, and between them, over this street, is the Bridge of Sighs. God, what a striking image. Imagine walking down the street and seeing this medieval-looking prison right there in New York City. Oh, the color again! I need to stop doing that, but just the detail, man. The shading, the gradient, the everything. Man, this shit was printed in 1898, no less. The Whirlpool Rapids, Niagara. Just the detail. Oh, Jesus, what are we doing as a society, man? Like, seriously. Wait, Tommy Atkins? Is that the dog's name? Hey, I know that place. I didn't realize there was a fucking awesome photochrome version of it. This is the Trinity Church in Boston, 1901. It was also the first big break for architect Henry Richardson, where he debuted his Richardsonian Romanesque features for the first time. I refuse to go on a tangent again, so I want to marvel at the color and the sky and just the detail of everything. It's orgasmic, pure ecstasy. Ah, the Stars and Stripes, 1910. Clearly retouched or probably superimposed. Still, what a photo. Aww, a little black cat. Oh my god, her name is Miss Vixen. She's the mascot of the USS Vixen, taken in 1895. She's adorable. She only seems to exist in this photo, but black cats were quite common as mascots for warships. She's so cute, though. I know this place. It still exists. Like the title says, this is Washington Street, where the tracks for the old Northwestern Railway station bridged over. It's crazy to see how different this area looked back then. It's almost rural. Decades later, I'd be throwing up right in the middle, blasted off of mimosas, looking up at the clock, and asking God why he forsaked me. Oh, but this place, this is the Union Station in Columbus. It's inconceivably gorgeous. Like, this is a train station. Another Beaux-Arts masterwork designed by world-renowned Chicago World's Fair heavyweight Daniel fucking Burnham. It was the apple of Columbus's eye, but by 1977, no one gave a shit about it anymore, and the whole station was razed. Only one archway was spared the wrecking ball. Now, allow me to digress. The whole station was built from 1893, the same year as the famed Chicago World's Fair that put Burnham on the map, to 1899. But I want to take a moment to consider the detail of the only surviving archway. The portal is flanked by fluted Corinthian columns, reliefs of angels sculpted into the spandrels, eagle medallion friezes below a band of denticulated cornices. And that is just the archway. Imagine how this whole thing looked when it was in full bloom. The arch is now a part of the McPherson Commons. JD took me there to show me the beauty of it, right before he blew out his elbows. Now, this was the Union Station in Portland, Maine, circa 1904. Also chateau-esque by the looks of it. It was demolished in 1961 and replaced with this strip mall. Here is another Union Station, this time in Savannah, circa 1904. It's beautiful. Want to know what happened to it? I bet you can guess. That's right. It was demolished in 1963 to build Interstate 16. Thanks, guys. Oh look, another Union Station in Troy, New York, taken in 1905. Let me guess. Yep, it too was demolished in 1958. I seriously don't know how much more I can take of this, but hey, look at that. Newspaper boys. Okay, a break from the heartbreak. Here we have an incredible scene in Mercado Tacon, Havana, 1904. Before GMOs, before industrialized farming, before all of that shit, when you can just buy locally grown, natural food. Of course, with all the weevils. Still, what a scene we don't see anymore. Ooh, Victoria Glacier with Mount Lefroy and Mount Mitre in Alberta, 1902. God, I suck at names. Ugh, I gotta go back to Alberta soon. When my partner and I visited, we only stayed in Banff. Seeing shit like this just gets me so excited. Ugh, what a view. Oh, and views indeed. It's like Flatiron almost. Another Beaux-Arts masterpiece. Look at all the detail, the limestone, the medallions, the coining, the balustrades, the entablature, the windows. Fuck me, Christ. Wabash Station in Pittsburgh? Circa 1905. Ugh. All right. When was it demolished? Demolished 1953 to make way for offices. Aw, you can see the shadow of the clouds across the mountain range. Dude, this is such an amazing photo. Wapta Peak and Yoho Trail from Burgess Pass in BC, circa 1902. Fuck, dude, this is beautiful. Again, it's natural. No embellishments, no filters needed. Oh shit, what is this? The Welcome Arch at Union Depot? Oh god, Denver, Colorado, 1908. Look how beautiful it looked. Actually, look how nicely the city is laid out. So this was also called the Mitzvah Arch, named after the Hebrew salutation which appeared in Genesis 31:49. It also lit up. It was dedicated on July 4th, 1906, but when the Depression hit in 1929, the arch was falling apart and waning funds were needed elsewhere. It was deemed a traffic hazard and unceremoniously demolished in 1931. Ah, there we go. That's my girl, the Olympic, 1911. The only Olympic-class ship to ever survive after World War I. Man, she had a history to her. Enjoyed a life of luxury as a Royal Mail and passenger liner. Called and dazzled into service when the world was at war. Rammed a German U-boat in 1918. Returned to civilian service throughout the 20s and 30s. And ultimately and finally scrapped when Cunard merged with White Star in 1935. It just rips me to pieces. Thomas, you beautiful bastard, you would be so proud of your daughter. Back to Detroit. Taken in 1918 from Woodward Avenue. Look at all those people. Like carpenter ants marching through a dead wooden log. But I want to draw your attention to the majestic building, with all its awnings and hipped roof. Yeah, it was demolished in 1962. And finally, we reached the finish line with this, a tenement yard in New York City, 1905. God damn, it almost looks modern again. But no, man, tenement life back then was cruel and very oppressive. It was even worse before the turn of the century. Muckrakers were going apeshit, exposing the squalid living conditions that permeated in neighborhoods like this. So this is really a time capsule into a world we'll thankfully never know or see again.
And that's all she wrote. Did we learn anything from this? No, except that we were tearing down some of our country's most beautiful buildings. But I think I picked out the best photos that showcase the firm's talent. A little bit of their amazing photochrome work sprinkled in with some William Henry Jackson. There's way more though. I'll leave a link below to the first page of like 500 worth of photos that are available for free through the Library of Congress. And yes, I looked through every single page for this series. I seriously have no life.
If you like our videos, make sure to subscribe. Thanks.